What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Mind Hiking Podcast. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and today I got my beautiful fiance, Catie Frantz, back on the podcast. It's actually been a long time since I had her on the podcast. I didn't realize.
Before your 100th episode.
It was before my 100th episode. Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was like, oh wow. I didn't realize.
It was your 100th episode.
I didn't realize it was that long ago.
No, it was the Monday episode before.
Okay, we'll figure it out. I
Oh,
wanted
sorry.
middle of recording an opener to having a conversation. Yeah, okay, so it was a long time ago, but yeah, crazy. So we're talking very aggressively and very strongly in this episode because we're passionate about what we have to say. So this topic, again, it's weighing heavy on my heart. So if you're not into what we have to say here, I apologize, and you don't need to worry about changing the podcast, like this podcast changing into like this topic specific. Don't worry. It's still the same old Brody, same old Mind Hiking Podcast. I'm just hammering this topic hard just because it's weighing heavy on my heart. And but we got some good episodes coming up in the future. Some really cool interview ones with my sister Steph. Some more. That's probably my most. Actually, I know for a fact she's my most requested interview guest on the podcast. I have everybody asking me when I'm going to have her on next all the time. Even if I just post an episode with her, it's like people are asking, you got to have Steph on more. So we got another one coming up with her. So that's going to be awesome. Yeah, she's got awesome episodes with the topic episodes. So, good ones coming up. So, yeah, this is a drawn out opener, but hopefully you guys enjoy this episode and stay tuned. Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Brody Frye, and here we dive deep into difficult questions. We'll map out thoughts, theories, and crazy ideas for the love of knowledge and growth. So, how do we answer some of the mind's toughest questions? This is the Mind Hiking Podcast. I apologize in advance, but we have been very busy, and it's been a struggle to try to find time to record this episode. So here we are, middle of the night, recording this episode.
2 a.m.
That mic is far away.
2 a.m.
No, it's not. I would just I'd black out standing up if it was 2 a.m. My body doesn't know how to stay up that late.
I know you have before.
Yeah, I've worked through the night before.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Anyways, let's come out swinging here.
Oh, gosh.
So I've been talking about this same topic for the last probably 5 or 6 episodes now. But I haven't really explained why I've been so aggressive with this topic. But basically, what it comes down to is we're human beings, and we want to prosper. We want to grow. We want to better ourselves. We want to better our lives. We want to better our families' lives. We want to reproduce. In the Bible, it even says, God says, be fruitful and multiply.
Yep.
It's in our DNA. We want to be fruitful and multiply. Mm-hmm. And be human beings. This is how I know that the evil in this world is evil in this world. This is how you know that that's not like an overstatement. How you know that that's not like Like when you hear people say evil, like growing up, I'm like, that's a strong word to use. Like saying that's evil. Like, I always thought that, but I'm like, geez, we're all humans. Everybody makes mistakes, and
Yeah.
Then the more I thought about it, the more knowledge I gained, and the more I researching things and opening my eyes and looking around and seeing it, you start to notice that there's a common pattern, a trend that we're going towards, and that is dehumanizing us. More and more in society, you're seeing us change from our natural desires as human beings. You're starting to see people. I mean, it's like normal now for like plastic surgery or any alteration of a body is like normal now.
Yeah.
And it's like encouraged in pop culture. And the changing of who we are, the changing of what God created us to be. All it is just steering away from God and who he created us to be.
Messing with his plan.
Yeah. And sorry, I can barely hear you.
And messing with his plan.
But why is that? Why would human beings steer away from our nature and what's programmed inside of us? Also, throughout history, every single civilization that has ever lived or ever existed has done some form of human sacrifice. Every single one. Why is that? What is there to gain by sacrificing a human life? For human beings, there's nothing to gain by that. Only to destroy. So what? That's not natural.
No.
What is there to gain by having people... I mean, first it was adults. Like, I mean, it starts in such... you can't just, like, draw a hard line. It starts with such baby steps. It's the people, like, being, like, experimenting and being curious with, like, sexual desires. And then all of a sudden, you get, like, gay people and lesbians. And then it starts turning into... And that's one thing. But then you start getting the transvestites, people like actually performing surgeries to change and alter their bodies. And again, that's another level as an adult. And then you start seeing that happening with children. And there's schools now that if children admit, or not admit, but say things like, I feel like if a girl says that she thinks she's a boy, or a boy thinks that he's a girl, the school will fund and have the surgery performed and keep it from the parents. Because they say that that's not the parents' concern. If the child wants to choose to do that, it's not. The government is in control of your children. You don't raise your children.
Mm-mm.
But again, that is unnatural. That is not in the human nature. Because the biggest problem is it's not like from an ideological standpoint. It's not like I don't agree with you. That's not where this is coming from. Where this is coming from is you're altering that kid's reproductive organs, that body, forever. And that child will never be able to reproduce again. Never.
Yeah. Even if they reverse it back and change their
That's
mind.
unnatural. Why? Why would human beings cut up their reproductive? It's in our DNA to reproduce. Why would you do that to a body? Why would you change that?
I also feel like it should be a thing where no matter how uncomfortable it is, we all go through like an awkward stage. And it does, scientifically, our brains fully develop at age 26, 27. That I think that should not be a decision until your brain is fully developed at 26, 27. And then at that point, if you want to change your body and you want to make that and sign the papers and change your body, go right ahead. But I think of like me being in the beauty industry now and being the girly girl I am now. But looking back at like when I was younger, I used to wear boy clothes and I didn't like makeup and I was very much of a tomboy, but that's because I had an older brother that always said, boys can only hang out in my bedroom, or like would say stuff like that, that it would kind of like, it made me want to be a boy, you know? But then imagine if I went to school and had that at-home life, had all my, you know, my brother, when he would grow out of his clothes, my parents would give it to me, so then I would wear his clothes. So then imagine me showing up in boy clothes and a Batman shirt and all of that, and hanging out with all the boys because my friend in first grade said, I don't want to be your friend anymore, and then told all the girls to not talk to me, so then none of the girls talked to me, so then I hung out and played Foursquare with all the boys in the grade at, like, first grade. You know, that it's like, if a teacher would have saw that stuff in, like, today's age, they probably would have convinced me that I wanted to be a boy.
Pull them aside and say, hey, like, is everything okay? I think you're a boy. They would lead them to that.
Yeah, and then I'd be probably sitting there being like, well, I wear a Batman shirt. I only like boy stuff. I only hang out with boys. Like, I guess.
Especially with an adult advising you like that.
And I had a best friend that was very tomboy, you know, always had a short pixie haircut, you know, loved sports, you know, and now, like, today, like, she dresses girly, and, yeah, she might not be girly, but, like, she wears makeup, and, yeah, she still loves sports and everything, but she is a girl, you know, and I feel like a decision like that, if someone's deciding to make it, and they're in, like, their 30s, or even late 20s, that's different, but there's also people, I feel like, that is such a big decision and a life-altering decision, and it's so important, and it is a big decision, and it takes a lot of guts to make that decision, but there's also a lot of records stating people who do it and then want to reverse it.
Exactly. I was just
because they don't know who they are.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I saw a stat that after, like, post-surgery, post, like, transvestite surgery, post-sex change surgery, people, 60% of them commit suicide in their lifetime. That's massive.
Yeah.
They're confused. That's not human.
The deeply rooted issue is learning to love yourself for who you are, and not trying to label yourself and figure out why you are the way that you are to make excuses. You need to learn to love yourself.
The deepest root is that's not you making that choice.
Yeah.
This is where it's coming from.
I just mean loving yourself at the original state.
Do you think it's too
much? I don't mean
much?
After the surgery.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean the original state of who you're born.
Oh, yes. Yeah. But that's, like I said, that's altering forever. So you can't reproduce anymore. Mm-hmm. You ruined and now why are they targeting children? Because children are the closest to God.
Yeah, and
they can never reproduce again.
I still don't think that's okay, because children will listen to adults very easily. Yeah. So if an adult tells you should, like, they're obviously, adults aren't going to be like, you should be a boy. No, but they're going to be like, you know, like, do you really think you should be what you are now? Do you ever feel like you want, like, you know, obviously they'll have the adults will have the best intentions, especially a lot of teachers out there are just trying to follow protocol and make the kids feel heard and loved. But at the end of the day, a kid's going to feed into whatever is being told to them.
What force is acting on us to be able to make decisions like that and think it's okay? What force is acting on you to choose to do something like that, or choose to tell a kid something like that, or choose to, how about the doctors performing these surgeries? What forces are acting on them, allowing them to perform these surgeries? That's not human. That's not natural. That's anti-human.
Yeah.
That's not natural. Is it too much to say that that would be considered supernatural?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think that's evil. I think that's what this is.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to change my opinion. And if there's a force acting outside of human nature on us, that is supernatural.
Yeah, it is.
That is all the proof you need for Satan. And clearly, if there's something acting on human beings like it is, because that is totally unnatural to change ourselves like that, and that's human sacrifice.
Yeah.
Modern day human sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that's enough proof that you need to know the existence of God.
In Jesus.
In Jesus.
One thing that blew my mind was thinking about, number one, how old the Bible is. Just anyone who honestly doesn't believe out there. Thinking of how old the Bible is and how... Sorry, I'm trying to get this closer to my face. Thinking of how old the Bible is, and not only that it was able to travel all around the world for people to get copies, but also... Thank you for fixing it. I always stink at the mic. Is that better? Okay. But, better? It's more of thinking about how old the Bible is and how dated back it is. And then to know that people pretty recently, like a couple years, have been coming out and have been feeling the way that they are, and knowing literal, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, thousands of years, well, hundreds of years, no thousands, the Bible was created. And it literally dates to things now and covers things now, like to this date. And on top of that, now whenever I, read things that are old, the Old Testament or the New Testament, obviously the New Testament sheds light of after Jesus, and after he died for our sins and all of that. But it's knowing that anything that God said and did, also, he knows the end. So his 10 commandments stand from the beginning to the end. There's no, why would God maybe he changed his mind. Well, why would he, blah, blah, blah. No, God knows the beginning and the end. He knows, no one knows the time or the hour when the world's going to end besides God. Like, he knows the beginning and the end. So when he made his 10 commandments in the Old Testament, he still was thinking about Jesus. He still knew about the end. He still knew about Revelations.
Yeah.
He knew about all of that stuff. And also it's showing proof that God knows the beginning and the end, because how do you read the Bible today, no matter what you literally, I have found Bibles that my grandpa had, that definitely my grandpa was, he died in his 90s. Like, he's had Bibles, older Bibles than what, I can get off Amazon, and they say the same exact stuff. And that stuff is dated, made years ago, that literally covers today's world. That's like more proof. Like, if you really spend time and read the Bible and read Proverbs and read just read the Bible, even just read the New Testament, but it literally covers today.
Yeah.
And everything going on to today. Read Revelations.
That's a heavy one.
That is a heavy one. Don't start with that. But still, like, I think you can agree. You can chime in anytime you want. But it's just crazy knowing that the Bible was made years and years and years ago. But yet, it covers today.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's so much in there. It's tough for me to say, read this or read that, because there is so much. Like you can't, and once you start diving into it, you can't get enough from it. But like, yeah, like you were saying, the Ten Commandments are clear as day. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult. Like, God's not asking a lot of us when he gives us the commandments and tells us how he wants us to live. But then it's just Satan acting on us, and then we just get these just fucked up thoughts, and then slowly we're straying further and further away. I'm telling you, this, it's like my last few episodes, like there's a hard line being drawn, and you're seeing it more and more every day, just the decisions and things that people are doing. It comes down to, we're straying from God. If you want to cringe to that sentence, then that's not you cringing. That's Satan inside. That's your ego. That's you being like trying to stray from God. And it's not that difficult. And the line is just getting clearer and clearer to see. And again, that's what's drawing me closer, because I'm like, I do not want to fuck this up. Like, this isn't a hard question. It's just like, God granted us the gift of free will. So you get to choose which side you want to be on. And that's what it comes down to. And a lot of people let that ego get in their way and let the devil whisper in their ear. So they get this, oh, I'm a strong, independent person and I can figure stuff out for myself. And then you just get this weird feeling of like, anytime anybody brings up God, you just think, oh, please, blah, blah, blah. Like there's a greater force acting on my life. And then you go about your day like everything happening around you is totally normal. Why is everything that's happening normalized? That's because that's Satan.
Yeah. I wanted to say also, this doesn't count for everyone, but I feel like majority people, whether if they believe God or not, or believe in God or not,
also, we're the first society, this Western society is the first society ever to have widely accepted zero religion.
Yeah.
Ever in history.
Yeah.
Every other civilization ever has had some form of belief in a God.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I just wanted to say that, there's so many people out there that don't believe in God and either need proof or just don't know much about God, and they just don't believe in God. Like it's a hard concept. But we're not on this earth to know.
It's an easy
it's
concept.
I'm just saying, like, it's not for us to wrap our mind around it.
Right.
It isn't. That's what I meant. Yeah. Like, it's not for us to wrap our mind around it. And even if you don't, there's so many people that like will say they don't believe in God. Like, as me, like, I'm a very open Christian. Like, I've even had, like, brides and people that I don't know, like, message me on Instagram and send me something religious related. Or, like, which makes me feel good, Like,
people are right there in the fence, but literally Satan's just, like, won't allow you to admit it. There people are, like, they know it's true, but they just won't outwardly express it.
Yeah, and, like, no matter what, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. It's really late at night too, so I'm trying to.
And I'm interrupting.
No, it's okay. But long story short, there's just a lot of people that don't believe, but yet when they come, I was saying, like, I've had people in my life that don't believe. Like, even recently, I had someone I know, just talking. We were talking about, like, just like major life stuff happening and just like uncertainty and all that, and she was like, I don't believe in what you believe in, but I for sure know Jesus has your back. And things like that. So what I'm leading to is, like, I have people in my life that,
awesome.
Can at least come to me and talk about Jesus, even if they don't believe in Jesus and God. Mm-hmm. But the difference is like, even if someone doesn't believe, I've had countless of people not believe, but yet like have a yearning, like still
a calling.
Yeah. It's not even like they just let me talk about Christianity. Yeah. It's like they genuinely are like curious about the Bible. And
because they're supposed to be on the good side. They're supposed to be following Christ. They're supposed to be walking with God.
Yes. And it's their spirit calling yearning for God. And at the end of the day, hold on, can I please finish my thought? At the end of the day, you have free will. So you choose to see the signs. You choose to see God calling you. God's putting signs in front of you, trying to get you to come to him. You can choose to either go there or see the signs, or not. Just like we all have Google, we all have stuff. You can go search up proof. You can go search up the physical photos of the cloth that was on Jesus when he passed away. You can see all of the proof. There's a Bible app. You don't even need to buy your own Bible. Just read the Bible. Like, I just feel like people are so quick to shut down God and Jesus, but yet if you ask them anything about the story, they'll know like what they've heard from people, but yet they haven't read the Bible. They haven't dove deep to find evidence. They just themselves don't want to see it. And I'm going to say, I am very firm on my faith. I know God and Jesus are real. I have seen the proof. I've seen the proof in my life. I've seen God do things for me in my life. We
started this podcast with proof. Everything around you is proof.
Literally. Like, I've seen it, so I'm confident and I stand firm. And Satan attacks everyone. You know the amount of times I'm literally reading the Bible, having an emotional moment, and then all of a sudden I just get a thought of like, okay, but like if this was like a thing, like how could God even be real?
Right.
And I'm like, literally, I'll be there and I'll be like, get that, like, Satan, you're ugly.
Why?
Go away.
Why does that happen?
You know, it sounds like my voice.
Yep. Yeah.
But I know it's not me.
Yeah.
That's not me. 100%.
Like, where does that come from? Why is that? Like, you're so secure in your belief, and then all of a sudden you get thoughts like that because we're afraid. It's like,
that's what I was trying to lead to. I'm done.
Satan's just like using your fear and your ego to make you feel afraid of being wrong. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be wrong and embarrassed. It's like that core fear of being embarrassed and then outcasted from the group. You don't want to be wrong. You don't want to say something outwardly and then just find out that you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what he's using against you, because it's like clear as day, and then all of a sudden like you get thoughts of, oh, but I haven't physically like seen God and shook hands with him.
Yeah.
But so it's just stupid things like that. But it's literally just Satan's using, and all he needs to do is convince you that God doesn't exist. That's it.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to make you believe in him or worship him. He just needs to make you think life is just life. You just reproduce and you die, and then slowly tempt. And he's so patient, and he's just gonna wait, and he's gonna every little keyword. He's slowly gonna draw you from God, and next thing you know, you're cutting your dick off and becoming a woman.
And also, like, there's proof. There's proof everywhere. Like I said, you can look online. You can have an open mind and truly just not critique. Like, literally just keep an open mind. Read the Bible. Download the Holy Bible app. Just go through that. Usually there's little passages in there too and little studies, so you don't have to feel like you're alone or not know where to start. Like, just start with that. Go on Google. Look for proof. There's proof all over the place. You know, yes, there's fake news out there, but also they put that on there to steer you away from the truth and from the real stuff.
The government is in total control of all the major media sources as well, and you can tell, but it's fully infected too as well. Like you see news articles where it's like mainstream media putting out articles saying 2 women in prison had a baby.
Yeah.
No, this man that just said he was a woman just to get thrown in a women specific prison.
Yeah.
Gets thrown in a women specific prison into a jail cell with another woman, and then he rapes her and she gets pregnant. Yeah. And then they say, oh, 2 women is the headline. 2 women had a baby in jail. No, that's fucking Satan infected news sources. Yeah. And that's ridiculous that the judicial system actually allowed something like that to happen. It's just, there's so much infection and sickness in this world, and we need God more than ever before. And it's just like, how blind are you if you don't see this?
And also, with the way that everything's looking, you'll get your proof.
Oh yeah,
but you're not gonna like it, because you're gonna get the proof when it's way too late. And if you read Revelations, the Christians are, for the most part, are going to be gone, and then you're going to meet Jesus, and you're not going to like the Jesus that you see, because you're going to be meeting him not when it's too late. You can always repent. But like, I'm just saying, like, just find the proof now before technically it's too late, before things get worse, because things are rapidly getting worse. And again, we're coming from the standpoint of we've read the Bible, and things are literally from years ago of people that didn't even have cars, had different languages, literally a complete. There's things that we have now that they can't fathom. They don't even know. They didn't even have. And yet, Revelations is lining up to multiple things that are happening today.
Because you got to keep in mind how they were explaining it, like you were saying to me. Like, how would somebody, like, if you got a flash forward, like, 4,000 years into the future, you got to see what life was like, and you got to see events happening. How the fuck would you explain what's going on there? How would you be able to write that down and explain it? How would somebody living back then be able to explain cars or whatever? Like, I'm not saying that the rapture's happening in this time period, but how would somebody that like a prophet be able to explain the technology that they've never even heard of or seen, or don't even know how to, especially trying to explain it in a different language and then translate it to here? So that's why they use like a 9-headed dragon with fire coming out, shooting fire, blah, or whatever. And it's like, how else are they supposed to explain it? They don't even know any better words, and they don't know what else to compare it to. Something flying, they don't know anything that flies other than birds.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, and I just feel like, you know, there's been things past where they're trying to like ban certain things in the Bible, and so many people can say, well, the Bible's been written with so many different ways and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, it's because
the Bible's racist now.
Well, also it's being targeted.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's being targeted. And also, if you look, and we had, at the church that we go to, we had a man who was Muslim and raised Muslim and respects Muslims, but like converted to Christianity. And he
was
preaches,
an assassin.
Yes. And he talks about, if you read, I don't know what it's called, the Torah.
Yeah.
If you read the Torah, is that what it is? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to be more as like respectful as possible. But either way, what Muslims, their Bible, like what they read, their scripture, literally is the same people. It talks about the same people in the Bible, the Christianity Bible, the Catholic Bible. Like, it talks the same story, but no one's going to talk about that either.
It's just kind of more different principles and from a different perspective.
Yes. Oh, the Quran.
Quran. The Quran. Yeah, that's
the Quran. But it literally talks about God. It talks about oh my gosh, I'm blanking. It's so late at night. It literally
Moses.
Moses, Isaiah,
all the same people.
Literally all the same people. I'm pretty sure, doesn't Jesus even get mentioned in it?
No, Jesus that's
like the one person that's left out of it, right?
That's one of the major arguments whether or not Jesus was the Messiah. It's like the Jews don't believe that Jesus was the Messiah.
Yeah. Okay, I'll stop talking about religion.
There's so much religious argument. It's insane. But yeah, Christianity is the by far, like dominatingly by far, the most widely accepted religion in the world. What?
From what I'm reading, it does talk about Jesus.
It probably talks about a Messiah.
It says... No, it's saying specifically Jesus, but they're saying that they talk about Jesus, but they say that he wasn't the Son of God. That's literally the only difference.
Okay. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not an expert. But, I just was curious, so I looked it up. Yeah. But who knows? Again, we're not Muslim, so we don't know. But but either way, it's just the most
There's a lot of similarities.
Targeted. Yeah. And also it's another religion that
jives with the Bible, which it's just like, this is another just interesting adventure to go on, is just learning about all this stuff. But sorry for like all the aggression in this episode. It's just like this topic is just weighing so heavy on my heart, and it's like, it's just the more you open your eyes, the more you see it over, like more and more each day. And it's like, it's just stressful and frustrating and I feel like I get targeted hard for like the more I get attacked, the more it draws me closer to God, because I'm like, all that is just more proof. And it's been clear as day since the day I got baptized. It's just been attack after attack, and it's just been like life is just like harder. Like the struggles and trials and tribulations in life lately are just like absolutely insane. It's just been like whirlwinds of struggle since then. And I'm like, thank you for the proof.
Yeah.
Like, thanks, Satan, you're making it obvious.
Yeah.
It's just clear as day now, because it, like, I don't, you know what I mean? It's just clear to me, and it just makes me want to.
It just shows you that there's no coincidences.
Yeah.
There's no just like something that typically would happen and you'd be like, oh, weird, and ignore it. Mm-hmm. You know now. Everything has a meaning. There's nothing that just happens and doesn't have a meaning.
Yeah.
Either it's from God or it's from Satan. And whatever God has, Satan has a counterfeit. It's literally like it makes, it gives you more stress, but you also gain more peace in stressful situations from God, because and you can start to decipher what's right and what's wrong. But then the difference is if you choose the wrong option, like you have a right option and you have a wrong option. So then Satan's telling you in the back of your head, like, just do it. It'll be fine. He'll forgive you. Everything will be fine. Just do it. Just go after it. And then God's sitting there being like, I don't think you should do that. You're not going to be happy after you do it. You're really going to be upset after you do it. That's not the right decision. Yeah. And then you go and make the wrong decision, and then Satan's like, you are so stupid. Yeah. Everyone hates you, blah, blah. And then God's the one that's like, hey, everything's okay. Everything will be fine. Like, you. Yes, I forgive you,
Yeah, they flip-flop. They're total opposite.
They do.
But also, I think more commonly, instead of that, like Satan, he does push you to do that, but I think a lot more common, at least in my experience, is he pulls you more often in his convincing, where instead of saying, go do that, you can do it, do that, it's more of, you should do that because you deserve this.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You deserve that. You deserve this treat, or you
makes
deserve
you think
this
of
reward,
yourself.
Yeah, exactly. He uses the ego so
you should put
hard.
Yourself first.
Yeah, put yourself first. Yeah, you should relax, kick it back. You've been working so hard.
No one understands you.
Exactly.
You have the best intentions.
How many times a day do you hear all that stuff? Or if somebody says something you disagree with, and then he just says like, they're so wrong, they don't know what they're talking about, like, you're so much smarter, blah blah, and like anything like that. Like, it's just like whispering instead of just open-minded.
He makes humans not treat other humans like humans.
Right, exactly. He wants to stir up fights and drama, and he's just like the biggest drama queen there ever was.
Yeah, like throwing tantrums.
Yeah.
Shutting doors, turning off podcast episodes when you mention Jesus.
Yeah, literally. Listen to the last bonus episode.
Yeah. He literally throws all the tantrums.
Yeah. Okay, we'll keep this short because we are tired, but congratulations on your new podcast.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. You want to give us a little rundown what that is? See if we can get some listeners over there.
So it's called, so a little bit about my journey, I guess. Not a lot, but I've been in the beauty industry, and so I have just been going through, especially since we got baptized, I've been thinking about a lot about just like my life and what I want to do, and honestly not thinking. I've been reading the Bible and praying, and I feel like it's given this torment of like me changing myself,
clarifying the mud in the water.
Yes, like parting the rocky waters. Jesus
like
has been parting the sea for me to walk through.
The muddy filled water jar that's all stirred up. It's like setting it on the table and letting it settle.
Yeah,
and
it's like
clarifying it so you can see through it.
Me being a surfer, being so excited to be in the water, being on my board, but then feeling like I'm drowning and I'm drowning in the water, even though this is exactly what I wanted to do. And Jesus literally just parted it and went, I'll get you through this, but you got to go forward and you got to get out of the water. And that's literally how it feels like it's been the past couple months. And so I had this podcast, and it was called the Living Confidently podcast, because I mainly just want to make people feel confident, just feel good about themselves. Like, that's just what I love to do. And I was the youngest sibling,
but it was a good reflection of who you were and the journey you were on at that time. Because you did have topics all over the place.
I did.
Which, who am I to talk? But
yeah.
But it was a good reflection of your journey.
Yeah.
Because, you were still trying to find your journey.
Yeah, and so I started this podcast, and it covered a lot of topics. It covered just a lot of like mental health. It covered social media, because I know a lot about social media and building a brand. It covered fashion. I covered that for a little bit. I covered even just like women's health. And I always just feel like, since I was a little sister, I always told my parents, like, I wish I could be the big sister. But if you guys knew my parents, they are older parents. So they were like, nuh-uh, you were the last child.
Didn't you have like a gift giving episode too?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It was just for like,
I liked
it was
all
for
your
Christmas. Episodes. Thank you. I hated my last one.
Are they still up, or did you take them all down?
No, they're still up.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I might take them down, but I don't know. I'm still
listen
on the fence
to them
about
while you can. Hurry up.
Yeah, don't listen to I made a one about fashion, and I think that was like the switch. When I did that one, I stopped making them, and then
now that's going to be the biggest one.
I know. Guys, it's the most superficial, like, and it wasn't. No, it was genuinely me. Like, I liked fashion. I do still like fashion, but I do think it's at the end of the day, I'm not going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on fashion when I'm like struggling with debt. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to wear what I want and I'm going to do what I want. But when I can afford it and when it makes sense, like, I just feel like the fashion industry and the fast fashion, like, there's a lot of evil in it. And I just don't want to associate with that. And you can tell.
All ego. It's all ego.
You can see the fashion shows. You can see, all the stuff with Balenciaga. They're tied into a lot of the child sex trafficking. Like, and I can see that stuff and I can't wear it. Like, I can't, I see that stuff. Even like, I still get torment, like, even buying stuff off Shein because of all of the stuff about just like, child workers and all of that. Like, and I just can't. So, it just doesn't feel right. And so so I had that podcast, and then I was praying a lot and going through this journey of life and kind of backing away from the beauty industry, knowing I still love weddings, and I still love, weddings and the idea of weddings and people getting married and being full of love. And, that's such a special day that I love that environment. I absolutely love that. And that ties into like my passion for the beauty industry. But like, when it comes to just like the overall looks of people, I'm just not passionate about it. There's other people that are passionate about it that are amazing at it. I just am pulling away from that. I also don't want
people to get the wrong idea and think like, oh, it's just another girl that just didn't like the job. No, you were a successful makeup artist. You were a celebrity makeup artist. It's not like you were.
And I'm still doing makeup
because it's not like you're
it's
frustrated.
Not like I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, and it's not like you're frustrated because you weren't successful or you tried so hard and you just couldn't get anywhere. No, you were
busting
your booty, and also extremely successful and on the cusp of something great too. So that's saying even more. And you got called by God.
Yeah. And also, again, I do want to say that, like, I also am still doing makeup. Yeah. So I still am. I'm just doing it. I'm just focusing my energy on certain things that I know fill my cup. And then now I'm shifting my focus to other things. And
I just want people to know you're successful and you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Thank you. And at the end of the day, I know. I know how much of a hard worker I am, and I've had people tell me that. And even if people want to think that I'm not, they can, because I know I'm a hard worker. And the people who are close to my life know I'm a hard worker, and they saw me. I mean, it shows. I've literally haven't had a vacation in years, in like 3 years. Like I was always working, and then I just ever since we got baptized, I've been reading the Bible. I mean, I've been reading the Bible for for years, but
we're both under
yeah,
major
but
attack.
but the baptism was just different.
Yeah.
Like
because you chose.
Yeah, and it chose, and like it. I'm sorry, I was reading what you said. Not only like are we dealing with a lot more battles, but it's like I fasted out of the blue. I fasted for 2 days.
Yeah.
2 full days without food.
Which is not easy. So anybody can say like, oh, what, just skip eating for 2 days?
Yeah.
It's a lot harder than you think.
Yeah, I can easily not have breakfast and lunch and eat dinner.
Skip meals, yeah.
And skip meals. But the moment I'm fasting for Jesus, how come my body's freaking starving by like 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Like when I could easily go without food on a regular day, me not thinking about it.
The first night you were like, I can't do this. I'm going to just do one day because I can't do this. I can't.
Yeah.
And I was like, you can do this. You got this. It's literally just do the same thing you just did today, tomorrow. You can do this.
Yeah. Why do I feel like, no, I did 2 days.
Yeah.
Why does it feel like it was 3 days?
Because it felt like hell to you.
Yeah.
It feels like a lot longer because you had to suffer it.
Because I'm thinking about when you told me the first night when I was rationalizing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was 2 days.
It was.
Guys, felt like forever.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
But yeah, so, and the crazy thing is just anyone who fasts, some people get like revelations or they feel like they talk to Jesus or they not talk. They feel like they just like, again, it's like in your mind. It's like you just get certain things or you see certain signs and you're like, no freaking way. Like, it's just things like that happen. And I had my stuff happen after I fasted, like a week after. Mm-hmm. And just like little signs and stuff, which I will be talking about on my podcast. Haha. So go check it out. But if you're curious about like signs from God and everything like that. But long story short, so then one of the things that I was leaning towards was like, I still have always wanted to do a podcast. What can I talk about the most about? Jesus.
And you got all this equipment sitting here just calling your name.
And also, every time I'm on Brody's podcast, I used to be angry, so livid, upset, because wanting to box him. Because every time I would sit in this chair, he'd be like, so Jesus or so God. And like, that's what our conversation is. And that's what I talk about all the time.
So, but it would just lead that way.
Yeah, no, there would be times where you would sit down and be like, so
times.
the Illuminati, Catie. And you would do that stuff and I would instantly.
That I don't that I never asked you about.
Yeah, you did.
I don't care about that. Yeah.
You did. I can probably pull up one of the episodes right now about it.
I've never asked you about that. I don't even know anything.
Because you had me talk about the music videos and stuff like that. That was like the first thing you had me instantly talk about.
Well, then you brought
like
that
stuff.
Because I questioned about the album covers you were talking
Either
about.
way, every time anyone else is on your podcast, it's fun crime stories or it's, like other topics or anything like that. And the moment I sit down, it's religion. It's God.
I gave you
it's
that
Jesus.
Because you're like, like you guys can talk about easy stuff like aliens.
Either way, this is how I felt.
I asked you about aliens that one time. Do you remember that?
That's how, yeah. And then you were like, what do you think aliens are, Catie? And you said that. And of course I'm going to say demons. That's what but like, that's the thing is like, of course we talk about God. Like I talk about God all the time.
It always leads that way because you even brought up like, that's an easy topic, like aliens.
Okay, either way.
It's just funny.
I know.
It says something.
Yes. And either way, like I'm just trying to like get a point out where I was resentful about it at first. Like I was very like, how come I'm the only episodes about God and Jesus and how come I'm the like mine thing's always about religion? And I used to be like kind of upset about it because I knew that was the episodes that people skip and that people aren't fans of, and like a lot of people who are listening don't feel the same way and I knew my episodes were the least, and then you'd be talking about the leaderboard of episodes and everyone else who had like the fun other episodes were at the top and mine just kept getting lower and lower, and so that did upset me, but now what I'm saying is I realize that with people who are in my life and that have reached out to me and will send me Christian stuff even though they're not religious and will be like, thought of you, or even like my friends comment about I know Jesus has your my friends comment about like I know Jesus has your back and stuff like that. It just really shows me that like it just comes natural to me, even if I don't realize it. And I do truly will talk about Jesus and God for like hours. And anytime something happens in my life or something speaks to me or a sign happens, I either call Brody or I call my parents or, like any of my close friends. Like I'm instantly wanting to share revelations or share things with people and talk about it. And so what I'm leading up to is that I made a brand new podcast called the Living Confidently with Christ podcast. And so it's going to be covering topics about religion, God and Jesus, things from my own life, having other people on it, talking about their faith journeys, and things that have happened in their life and how God's touched their life. And yeah, so that's that. Nice. And I know my episodes would always lead to those topics also because of my mouth and how I feel, and I would bring things up. I was just saying,
on your heart.
Yeah, I was just saying I would get frustrated because I was like, how come my episodes, that was it. So, yeah.
That's because that's Satan just targeting you saying, that's bad, that's bad. I always loved your episodes. And I got a lot of compliments on them also. A lot of people do. I think more people than you want to believe like this kind of stuff more than they don't.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It's an important topic, and it's heavy on my heart lately. So I'm passionate about it, and I feel like I need to do this, and that's why I've been spending a lot of time on this topic.
Yeah.
But we'll start branching out again on future episodes. Start spreading out a little bit more.
Yeah, I also want you on my podcast.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Because I want you to talk about your faith journey.
Is that an official invite?
Yeah.
Ooh, thank you.
Oh, you'll be my first ever guest.
Oh, cool. Well, I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that. It's been, and even like after we got baptized, because we got baptized together, and not just like
at the same exact time.
We got baptized together, as in like we went together. No, we literally, they stood us next to each
under
other.
The water at the same time.
They they killed our sins and washed us away, and let us arise
anew,
break through the surface anew together. Yeah, that was very cool. So I think another reason why we're being attacked is for that, because it's not, a lot of the attacks happening in life right now are between us.
Yeah, and towards a relationship.
Yeah, so that's just that much more proof where it's like we got to stay strong, and
where it's literally like out of body.
Yeah.
Where like one of us will be going through something and we'll be so wrapped up in
like
ourselves or our own stuff. Yeah. Where then later on we'll be like, how did we even...
That wasn't even me.
Yeah. Or like, how did that
was
even...
so out of character.
Yeah. Or like, how did I get so upset or so worked up? Or how did I like, or like if I have a depressive episode or you're feeling super down and like you shut down, like it's just like the most random things where after we're done, we're like, why was that even...
Yep.
a thing? But they're strategic though, because it's like all of a sudden like you're doing something that immediately like is my one thing that like hurts me or like triggers me, and it's like the exact opposite, where then all of a sudden I'm doing something that like makes you shut down and you feel triggered, like it's pinpointed, like it's strategic conveniently after we got baptized together.
Yep. Yeah, we're under attack, but we got
we're good, though.
Strong house that is can withstand.
Yeah.
So I love you so much. Thank you so much for recording with me tonight. Mm-hmm. You're amazing. Thank you for your thoughts and opinions. This is a powerful episode. Mm-hmm. Share it with everybody, guys. 5-star review to the podcast. Also, I see you guys are enjoying my TikTok, what I've done with that, because it was just random stupid videos for the longest time, but lately I've been using it pretty much strictly for clips of episodes, and you guys are loving it, and a lot of new people are loving it. Since I started posting these things, I've been getting a lot of new followers, a lot of new activity. A lot of people like that. So it's cool. It's cool to see the influx from the TikTok clips to transition over to the actual podcast, people checking it out and listening, downloads going up, followers and Spotify going up. So continue to spread the word, tell everybody. 5-star reviews always definitely helps. Follow the podcast. If you're not following on Spotify, listen on Spotify and follow on Spotify. Really helps the podcast grow. So, and most importantly, tell somebody and open your mind and be kind.
Yeah.
A little slogan for the podcast that I haven't said in a while. So, all right. Thank you, Catie. I love you very much.
Love you very much.
All right, guys.
Peace out.
Rock on. Peace out. And we will see you next week.
Woo. Bye.